Hello there guys, Francis Gray here, and today I've got a new model to share you all. This is the classic monster Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, made famous by Boris Karloff in the classic Universal monster movies. This plastic kit is, it's a styrene kit made by Aurora. I believe it was released in the 1960s. It's an old kit. I do believe it was re-released later on, maybe in the 80s. But I think that was from a different company. But the classic original model was from Aurora. It comes in a multitude of parts. And once built, measures 10 inches tall by roughly 8 inches wide. Features the monster walking on a grave base, and then the tombstone reads Frankenstein. To say this is an old kit, I was kind of worried that the parts had warped due to age, but thankfully they were well preserved, and it was like building it like the day it was made. All the parts went together pretty nice. There was a few little fiddly bits. The main problem I had with this, but I believe it was always a problem, was adding the feet, but the feet connecting really well with the tombstone and the floor. Usually people would glue the feet first, and then when it comes to adding them to the base, they'll plonk them on the base, and then they'll find that one boot would fit, and the other boot would be like off the ground or something. So I did have a little bit of problem with that. What I did was I attached the back shoe first, and then I basically put Frankenstein on the base, glued this boot to the base, drilled a small hole underneath the base because under this is hollow, and then added a tiny screw to hold it in place, and then there was a bit of a gap here, which basically just needed filling in with Aves epoxy modelling clay. Left to dry, and then got a fine nail file, and then just filed it smooth, and then just matched the colour of the paint. I added some leaf scatter. If you want to know how to recreate that, basically check out my modelling tips sections. Basically it's just old dried out, I believe it's called pot puree. It's basically like bits of leaves and stuff like that smells nice, or it's artificial leaves that's made it smell nice. Obviously when you first get it, it smells pretty strong, but if you just keep it open and put it to one side, a couple of weeks later it loses its smell, and then it's just basically like artificial leaves, and then you just cut them up, and then just add a bit of PVA glue to the back of them, and then just put them in place, leave to dry, and then you've got realistic leaves. So there's a little tip there for you. When I first made this, I added some scenic grass scatter on the base, and even though I really liked the way that it looked, it was too vibrant, it was too green, it was too happy, if that makes any sense. So what I decided to do was, I was thinking, well, the grass would only be on the surface, underneath would be like mud and obviously soil, and you know, and I just thought that would make it a little bit like darker, and you know, and obviously wouldn't get light to it. So instead of going like adding brown, it would have been a bit too distracting. So basically I just put some black paint in my airbrush, and then just give it a light coating going around, and it just basically just blends from the bottom up to the top, and it just makes it look a little bit better on the eye, I suppose. Also use the same black on some parts of the tombstone, just to give it a little bit of a dirty, neglected look. The monster himself is basically just quite a lot of matte colours, so it's matte dark brown, left to dry, dry brushed a lighter brown over the top, sealed it with a matte varnish, added like a black wash over the top, rubbed off the excess. For the trousers and the jacket, basically just matte black. Same again, varnished over with matte varnish to seal it, and then just dry brushed like a mushroom light grey, just to highlight all the little wrinkles and folds and where the pockets are and the shoulders, etc. And then the shirt itself, that was a medium brown. Same again, matte. Left to dry, dirtied it up with a black wash. Left that to dry, and then dry brushed over again with a mushroom grey. And then that just again highlights all these nice little wrinkles and folds, etc. And then basically just Frankenstein's skin. Started off with a base coat green. Give it a couple of coats. I think it was 3 coats. And then just added like a black wash, rubbed off the excess, so all these parts here would accumulate like darkness or a bit of dirt, etc. And then give it a lighter green dry brush to highlight the knuckles and like the front of the nose, ears, chin, cheeks, forebrow, etc. And same again, matte varnished over to seal it all. And then added the details like the silver on the bolts. Obviously the eyes. The only part that's got a bit of varnish on it is the eyes, so they reflect the light when you move. It probably won't show up on the camera because the eyes are pretty small. And then I added a tiny bit as well where the wounds are. So here, going over the top, on the cheek, and then on the main wrists where they've been stitched together. But that's very minimal. That's just to give it a look that it's like a bit of blood is still seeping out, or it's still an angry wound, so to speak. And then just matte black for the hair, and same again, matte varnish to seal it, and then just added a tiny amount of like very light, same again, mushroom grey. And then went over the top just to highlight like a few different strands of hair, and then give it a black wash as well. So it mightn't show up on the camera, but if you see it with your eyes, you can barely see there's a difference, but it does all add to extra detail. The only part I forgot to mention was the belt, but that was just simple. That was just a dark brown base coat, left to dry. A lighter brown dry brushed over the top, and then same again, matte varnish sealed, and there you go. So it was a pleasure to build this. I really like the way that it turned out. It's not my favourite Aurora model, but I'm happy with the work that I did on it, and I'm happy that it turned out the way that it did. My only dislike with this model is the hollow tombstone. Now I know it's styrene kit and stuff like that, but yeah, it would have been nice if they just give you like an extra part to glue on the back. But to be fair, you're not going to display it in this pose, are you? You're going to display it from the sides or the front, so it's not a huge deal. It's just me personally, I'd have just liked that to have been sealed up. It's easily fixable, I suppose. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this quick look at, guys. Please don't forget to click the like button and share on Facebook and Twitter, because it helps new people find my channel, which I'm always appreciative of. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe for future model kit builds and statue reviews. And nothing else to say but thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.